Well, I want to officially welcome everybody to our last elevation call of the month of February
2025.
2025. Thrive in 2025.
Thrive in 2025. We be thriving in 25.
Yes. And we just had a little discussion in our group about just kind of why people hop on this elevation call. And so thanks for all of your feedback. I wanted to share a little bit about the U.S. Advisory Council, the updates. Steve and Jenny Todd and Hal and myself were representatives. We were actually one of, well, 4 of 10 of the US representatives, and then there were additional 12 from Latin America. And that was a really important part of the weekend because many of you guys have seen that Latin America is really expanding right now. And because of Luis and his ability to speak Spanish, we were able to have personal translation for their feedback, which was very, very significant. And we're going to talk about that.
Some of the best part was direct interaction, either in the meetings, the whole group meetings, and then after meetings. When we were the meetings after the meetings, I and Lisa both, we made a point to sit with the Latin Americans. Originally, I did it to get to know them. Originally, I did it to hear their stories. And literally, I asked, we went around a table when Luis was at that table, and I wanted to hear each one of their stories, and they were very inspirational. But then we realized that they had been through some very difficult things in their early stages of joining Zilis, which was in the middle of a lot of our challenges. And we learned a lot from that. But one of the things that I took away is how courageous those people are,
Mhm.
how their fortitude honestly is stronger than ours. In other words, they went through more difficult things because of their transition than even we did here in the United States. We didn't know that. Um, and so we learned some of that. But then we also learned some very specific things about how they're doing, their mindset, and some things that they're doing to be right now really advancing Zilis as a company, far more so than the United States. So we had some things to learn. So Lisa and I sat
With
under
Jenny and Steve.
with Steve and Jenny. Yes, it was fascinating to hear the answers that came through Luis, who literally sat there word for word translating to people who couldn't speak English at all and what they were doing. And it's been a long time, honestly, for Hal and Lisa to be able to sit under someone else in the field in Zilis and to just want to soak up what they're doing for us to be fed.
Mhm.
And it was these humble, proficient, um, consistent, persevering, thriving people from Latin America that I felt like I was refreshed
Mm.
by what they were doing there, even though we're not even on the same like team, but we're all one team, one dream. That was one of the best parts for us. We felt a bit maybe like some of y'all feel sometimes when you hear from us. We needed that from some of them, and we got that, which was great.
Well, and I agree with that. We're going to break that down just a little bit more. But one of the reasons that the U.S., well, the main reason the U.S. Advisory Council came together was to look at the new compensation plan that they're going to be rolling out very soon. And some of you guys know I've had just some individual conversations, but obviously facts can be shared, but the feelings of being in that room with not just the advisory council members, but the Fab Four and Angie Thompson, the feelings are what I really want to convey to you because I think that was way more powerful.
It was. So let's just say this: we are not in a position yet to share with you some of the facts that we heard. Um, Non-disclosure agreement that we have as a leadership group. And there are some details that we're going to be talking with Luis and Nadia about our own volumes that helps us better understand so that we can share with you. So those are the facts, but the feelings, so there's no NDA on feelings. Okay. There's no non-disclosure on feelings. And so Lisa's, I think it's brilliant on her part to take that language of the feelings is what we want to share, which we think is super important. The feelings of what we went into and what we came away with. So Lisa, get back on that.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say so Angie Thompson is our CEO since October She actually owns the company now and not just the acting leader. And really, I've known Angie for as long as I've been with Zilis, so amazing. And she literally was present the entire time. Every time that we were together, Angie opened the meetings and she closed the meetings.
She stayed there
She
with us.
stayed
She
there with
sat
us.
at the table with us.
She was very engaged and she laughed with us and she cried with us. And it really made me know that this is her company and that she fought to secure this company for us and for our financial future. Do you want to add to that at all?
Just that, she sat around the table as one of us. First time I've been in Zilis where the owner of the company sat with us as one among us. And it felt that way. Angie didn't say a lot. She listened, she took notes. You could see her smiling at some of the things that were said. She was fully engaged. She was there the whole time. She sat around the tables, had meals with us. She didn't disappear off on her own somewhere. She was fully there on the freedom calls and the things that y'all typically see and that we see. Angie's not there a lot. But as far as providing true leadership, um, you know, uh, she's more than a CEO. She's not exactly a mama to us, but it felt like it just had a different feel to it. It was very comforting. That's the best word. Maybe that's the mama side of it. It was very comforting that she knew what she had decided to do and that she was fully financially committed, had made some major decisions for the sake of the family of Zilis, present and the future. And that felt really, really good. And I will say that there were some times where we were talking about the compensation plan where I kind of looked over the side at her, like, to see her facial expressions when they were sharing some of the things about the compensation plan, because these are not sacrifices, but they're major changes in how we're going to be paid in a positive way for us in the field. And like, well, how was she, what's her expression when those things are being talked about in the group? And she was smiling, happy for us that we were getting it, and happy that the decisions that they had made together. So that's how I felt about that.
The other thing was really very interesting and very impactful for me was one of the Latin American leaders. And remember, these people had to secure area and above and be trip qualified. There were some, they had to pass some things in order to be on the advisory council. But Gabby Lozano, I had never met her before. She literally got her documentation to leave the country the day before her flight.
She
And
already bought her flight.
she had bought her flight months previously with faith that she would actually be able to make the trip. And literally, it was the day before that she was able to get approval to leave the country.
Where
And
did she
and
come from? Do you remember?
she, I believe she was from Peru, but she was one of the Latin American leaders. And so just that kind of faith and belief was very impactful for me. And she was one of the first, that family of three that was trip qualified level 4. So just seeing
How old is
their,
Gabby, you think?
she's probably 50,
At least,
at least
maybe I'd
50
say mid
something years
50s.
old. Yeah. Yeah. Didn't speak English at all. So that was really impactful. And then Jenny and Steve and Hal and I got a chance to talk to Mirta. And I think I even sent Jennifer um, a picture of us. You guys haven't met Jennifer yet, but you will. Jennifer Aguilar, she's on the call tonight. But Mirta and Sakura from Peru sat with us for, gosh, a good hour. And we were able to ask them the questions, being the top enrollers really in the world. We were able to pick their brains and ask them questions through a translator.
So here's how good it was. We came back, Steve and Jenny and Lisa and I came back from eating way too much barbecue at a barbecue buffet after the thing was over. My knees were hurting. I'd eaten too much, been sitting too much, and I was ready to go to the room. It was like 6 o'clock, 6:30 at night. And there they sat, like in the lobby. And I was just going to be like polite and sit there for a minute. And, they were just kind of gathered around. And all of a sudden, I don't know what caused the questions to be asked. Steve and Jenny were there. We were talking. Luis was translating, just in general. And oh, I know what it was. I had heard her story sitting around the table. Like this woman um, has an incredible story outside of Zilis, just about sacrificial decisions she made for her family years ago, leaving the United States. She worked here in the United States, was a software engineer, but because of a troubled pregnancy 11 years ago, she was literally in the hotel we spent our Zilis weekend in 11 years ago. And for the sake of her unborn child, made the decision that she had to leave corporate America and go back home and take care of this baby developing inside of her. And she left her career to take care of the child. So I had heard that earlier in the day or just around the table at lunch. And I wanted Lisa and Steve and Jenny to hear it. And so anyway, I just asked and Louise translated, she shared, but then that turned into the Q&A. We couldn't get enough of how they're doing it, what they're doing, their mindset. No excuses, only solutions. And Lisa's going to talk a little bit more about
Well, here's my question to you guys. Who knows what products they have in Peru? How
That's
many?
right. Marcia got it.
Martha,
Marcia
tell us,
said it.
Marcia, what did you say?
I think they only have Amwaki.
That's
You are
it.
correct. One product. And I didn't really realize that because most countries have more than one product. And there was a month that they had no Amalaki, zero products, and they were still doing these big meetings and growing
And getting on the
and
leaderboard.
getting on the leaderboard, which
Zero
we
product.
track that. And so I'm like, explain how you were able to do that. And she said, we work with whatever products we have because this is not about products, it's about freedom. That was her quote. And so it helped us to understand this. All of Latin America leads with business. They see this as a financial investment. They sell franchises, not just business kits.
So they sell a lot of golds.
And they do it to achieve freedom. And that is another thing. I know we talked about having some clog droppers, and in the US, we're always very quick to bring up the problems. But what Mirta said is she said, we focus on the solutions, not the problems. And which was another really powerful quote from her. And she said, our job is to awaken potential in people. And what
Whoa, say that again.
Their job is to awaken potential in people. And I'm going to ask Jenny and Steve also to talk about what was, insightful from them about our talk with them. But I was blown away by what they're doing that's working for their team. Because Merita has 5 different leaders, like she and 4 others. They do a 7 a.m. call every single Monday through Friday, every day.
So part of that is that they really weren't getting, kind of like we weren't, a lot of direction and assistance. They were really running into problems way back in Zilis. And they weren't getting anywhere. They were spinning their wheels. And so they said, let's just focus on self-development and community. Let's do that. And so that was their focus, helping others self-develop, choose to be self-developing, not just mentorship developing. Develop yourself, and let's build a community on a regular basis and give some mentorship, but let other people participate in that. And so not that I'll let Lisa and them talk about that, but point is that they took on the responsibility of their own businesses. Like they said, we're not getting what we need, we're going to make a path for ourselves, and they made a commitment to it. And the results are now coming out. This was probably 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that they started doing these meetings, and they're just now really beginning to see the results of this foundational self-development and regular commitment.
And they have a different leader that takes the call. I just was amazed, but 7 a.m. guys, I mean, like, they're doing this, and they use that call, that it's not just about the business, it's about self-development, it's about people bringing enriching information for self-development, and they use that as a recruiting tool.
They have people that come to that call now that have nothing to do with Zilis. They have people from everywhere, and it's really more about self-development. But then they take that opportunity to invite people to be a part of Zilis family. And so again, we're not trying to make a point that that's what we're going to do at all. Is every day 7. I mean, that's going to be up to other people, but just they're willing to do what it takes, something on a daily basis to the world that they don't necessarily benefit from financially, but everyone can self-develop. And then out of that, they've begun to, I guess those were the seeds for some growth for Zilis.
And they also do a boot camp. And one of the questions I had was like, what are you doing in this boot camp every single week? You'll hear about it on the Freedom Call. And Mirta kind of broke it down for us. They do some training, they do some extra training, and they do a 30-minute opportunity overview, and they bring entire families with kids running around, and they've created this huge family community with Zilis that has just continues to grow and grow and grow. And was really, really fun to get to hear that as well. And so I'm going to pause just a minute. Jenny and Steve, do you want to share some of the takeaways talking with Mirta or any other part of that?
Share something.
Yeah, I think, Lisa, how these people, this is a third world country. This is a country. If you've traveled to third world country, then that's good. We've lived in Europe, we've traveled in the Middle East, never been to the South America. Well, yeah, we've just been around and been to other countries, a few of them. But this is a third world country that has one product. And guys, a lot of times they didn't have any products. They don't have a fraction of what we have here in the United States, even today. But these leaders saw this as an opportunity and they've seized it. They've seized the moment. They didn't say yesterday or tomorrow, or they just seized the moment. And I think that's very important because we all take this for granted. We all do, okay? Me included. We all take this opportunity as, okay, there's another one that comes by. Guys, there's no way out for those people. That's why they moved on. There's no way out. And the problem, not a problem with us, we have a way out. We're not backed into a corner. We're not boxing our ways out of a jam, so to speak. We're in the greatest country in the world. They're not even on that radar at all. I mean, they just don't. And they don't use any excuse to not do this business. None. I mean, if you got one, just remember, they have more. And they did not back off, and they're not going to back off. This isn't about them being on their pedestal. Guys, they just flat out they get after it.
And it was very, very
It's inspiring.
I did a lot of reflection after talking with them. And as Steve said, we're such an entitled society here in the United States. And at least you mentioned it. We complain about a clog dropper. It just opened my eyes, again, just how entitled we Americans are sometimes. But they were so motivating. They smile all the time through all of this. They never complain. They never complained about any of this. Like, for example, the product, them not having product for a month. They just say, we didn't have product for a month. We have these meetings and da-da-da-da-da. It just was a humbling experience for me. And they are so much fun. I'm on Messenger now, believe it or not. Jenny Todd is on Messenger with Sakura. So I get these little reels where there's a room full of women in disco lights and they're dancing and but I've got a new friend there, so that's what this business is all about. We don't speak Spanish, but I've got 2 new friends now, and that's what this business is about. That's what this call is about, Lisa, this sense of community, and everybody's on the same page and everybody's rooting for everyone else. And they in South America, they root for us as
Mhm.
well as we need to turn around and root for them and support them, because they look to us as like we know everything. But that's all countries around the whole world. But it just all goes back to, this is why we do this business, this sense of community, this team. Everybody is truly one dream, one team. And I just love that about this business. So
And I think that's what Angie took away, and brought to it. Angie sat there through the whole meeting. Last year, she couldn't, last 2 years, she couldn't do that, right? She couldn't be here. It was a lot of things going on. She was there the whole time, and she listened to everything, and she takes everything to heart. She's not just talk.
No,
yeah.
she's not.
She's much, much more than that. And it's just it's a takeaway that, guys, there's really no excuse that we can have.
And this weekend too was so encouraging for the future of Zilis. I am just so excited. Y'all, we came home and we've just been nonstop since then. It's so encouraging, the encouragement. The future for Zilis is unbelievable. And I am so excited that everybody on this call, we're part of that. Just, guys, it's going to be so good. Good, it's going to be
Well,
so good.
thank you for bringing that up, Jenny, because we haven't gotten to that part yet.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably the most exciting. I mean, there was a point Hal sat right next to Mauro from Colombia.
Yeah.
And
Top leader in Latin America.
one of the top leaders.
I would say probably the top.
The top leader. And for those of you guys who may not know, Stephen Thompson was our former CEO. And in 2021, he'd already started European distribution. He wanted to create distribution in Latin America, had been a rep from a company called Zri, and knew the CEO who was retiring and purchased Zri. So that happened in 2021. I think we identified that. And I wasn't really familiar with a lot of the details, but we sitting next to the Latin American leaders, when they saw the new compensation plan, they recognized it.
So can I say it the way
you say it the way you want to say it?
We were sitting next to them, and we'd barely been introduced to the new compensation plan, some of the pieces of it. And I was sitting just to the left of this couple that Mauro and Aria. And when they saw what they were doing, I could tell he was energized by it. And at one point during the open conversation, of course, he primarily speaks Spanish, and it was being interpreted. But what he said was, we're familiar with this because this is what we had before Stephen bought Zri and changed the compensation plan to what you guys have been operating with for the last several years. And he said, you guys, you have no idea how good this new compensation plan is, because we lived it, but we had it taken away from us. He didn't say it exactly like that, but when I leaned over to him, I said, are you saying this? And he understands English. He can speak English, but he said, yeah, that's right. And he said, it's getting ready to get really good financially for those who do the work. And and so in that moment, the light bulb went on in two ways for me. Number one, that matched with where I thought we were going with the compensation plan. But the real light bulb went on to me to say that all the things that we've been through, they've been through worse. They have been through worse because they had it and it got taken away. And they hung in there for the very same reasons that all of you have hung in here. They had no idea a new compensation plan, theirs would ever come back. They just believed in the mission of Zilis. They believed in the product line, the future of the products, the impact on the world. They hung in for that. But when Angie took over and they saw this new compensation plan, it was very familiar to them. And so, again, that moment was so inspiring for me, because frankly, we feel like we've been through a lot, but they have been through more. So anyway, that's
well, and truly, Bo and Luis have been telling us for a while that we have no idea how good things are going to be
for those who work, for those who build. And we'll
Well,
talk more about that.
let me say though, one of the things I want to talk about is I was one of the people that really was able to capitalize on the first Zilis growth phase. And the way that Stephen Thompson's comp plan worked to make him wealth was when enrollments happened, that's where the money was made. But what we learned on the way down was that just volume didn't pay. It had to be enrollments. And that is changing because what we're adopting now is the best
Be careful.
wealth creating compensation plan. I wrote it down
Okay.
in the industry with something called a matching bonus. And that matching bonus is on personal sponsorship. And so that is what Bo says is the best, most wealth creating compensation plan in the industry. And therefore, who knows what we've been talking, who knows what these medals are for? Anybody know what these medals are for? I think we
Enrolled
got
to
this.
bronze, silver, gold.
What is that called though,
What's
Jenny?
what in short? What is it? What's it called?
Each one reach one. Each one reach one.
Right.
Each one reach one,
It's
guys.
about personal enrollments.
It's personal enrollments, and one personal enrollment per month is what Bo is recommending. It's the pace that you can actually start really establishing and creating this income stream that we are going to learn. And we've seen just the beginning of it. Can't really talk a lot about it, but what we've seen is very, very exciting.
So just to, without, again, non-disclosure stuff and just our commitment to that, what Lisa just said has been talked about openly. They promoted on the Freedom Call, each one reach one, having that mentality that your pace of business, it's like McDonald's selling a certain number of cheeseburgers each month. Okay. It's like a flower shop selling a certain number of flowers each month. It's our standard, kind of our goal, once you get going for you and your team, once you get going, is one a month. Add one a month personally sponsored
bronze, silver, or gold
for yourself, and help your teams do the same. Now, there is a jump start type of mentality that's a little bit different to help people really get started, get money back quickly, to get on the path that's most productive.
Well, to pay for their kit,
to pay for your kit and to make some money up front, which is very sellable. It's very sellable when you make money to get your kit, when you make enough money to get your kit money back. That's what I did in the beginning. I made enough money to get my money back for what I invested in my franchise, my gold franchise back in 2018. And that made sense to me. And so that's kind of coming back as an emphasis. But the main thing, the daily or the monthly operational, each one reach one, get you some of these medals, So anyway, that's right. Is that doable? Yes, that's doable. That sort of thing. So
and there's some details. I'm not going to go over a lot of details, but one that I want to make sure that you guys know, because you might know people that you have enrolled that have not remained active.
Really important right here.
This is super important. We have been asking for something called compression for a long time. And that means all the old accounts are deleted, and therefore
all the old inactive
accounts are deleted. And so somebody that is maybe on somebody's fourth level and there's some inactive accounts in between can come up to the next personal sponsor. And therefore that can create more personal sponsorships for people who've just stuck with the business.
So let me just say about that, if you don't have many people that you've sponsored, this won't impact you like it will for those of us who've been in the business a long time and seen people, whether let's say someone loved the products, they didn't want to build the business, but they had a referral to a cousin, and the cousin really loved the products, wanted to build the business, but the person who initially got them died, enrolled them, and that account's gone. Well, that person didn't count for a personal enroll, all right? But we're working with their team, and we've been asking for a long time, how can we get paid for the people we're working with when there's no one in between us? And so we've been asking this for a very long time. Stephen was not at all interested in it because it
didn't help him.
It didn't help him. It helped us. And he wasn't willing to do that, but Angie is. So that's just one example without going into too much detail. But you had, the people that's going to, obviously help initially that piece of the comp plan and those changes. is a significant change. And it kind of cleans things up so that those of you who are under someone's sponsorship, it really gives your upline the opportunity to work more directly with you and benefit both of you more.
So here's the bottom line. If you know somebody that has not paid their renewal fee, they need to pay them by the 28th or their account's going to be deleted. I mean, like they'll be gone and they'll have to re-enroll if they want to get back in. So just make sure that people know that, if they haven't paid their renewal fee and they're still interested in being a wholesale buyer in any way with Zilis, then they need to pay their
I would say
renewal
most people on this call have already done that, but there may be people on your team that haven't been active, haven't paid their renewal fee, and buy every once in a while or whatever. Just, pay attention to that. And there's no panic over it, but pay attention to who that might be on your team, especially if you've been in the business a while. And I see some names on the call here, people like here
Yeah.
that want to pay attention to that.
Yeah. And you know who you are. And if you guys have questions, and you can text me. The other thing I wanted to mention is Latin America has always been a separate organization that we really didn't have a lot to do with from a compensation plan standpoint.
Let me Karen Hale made a good point.
Yeah.
If you're actively ordering, okay, if you have been actively ordering on auto ship, your annual renewal, you're giving a notice that it's going to come out
Of your auto ship.
Yeah. Ship. Okay. But there are those maybe on your team, okay, that are not on auto ship anymore.
Those are the ones.
Those are the ones that you need to pay attention to. So Karen, you're exactly right. If you're on auto ship, the annual renewal of $49, right? It's like a Sam's Club or Costco Club card requirement update. So that's right. But if you have people on your team who are not on auto ship, then that's where it might kick in.
And then Kayla had asked a question about when this is going to take effect. And we don't have an exact date yet, but we believe it's going to be in March.
She also said when it's going to be in effect and put on paper. Those are probably two different dates, Kayla. So in effect and on paper, it'll be on paper with them. But, this is a compensation plan for us, all of us. And I asked the question there, do you have the manpower to work out the details and glitches if there's be just some glitches here and there? They admitted that, and we know it. So before everything hits hard on paper publicly, I think we'll be enacting it. We'll be able to share it with you. They'll be sharing it. So just to fully answer the question that Kayla put out there.
Yeah. And then what I was starting to mention is just one other significant change in the comp plan is that we are going to start being paid once you reach a certain size organization, size volume, we're going to be paid on all volume Latin America, Europe, and the United States, which is a great incentive for people to work together and to, like Jenny said, I mean, we love these people once we meet them, but it's a great reason, a business reason to encourage growth in other parts of the world is that once you reach a certain level, you are going to be bonused on that total volume
of the company,
which is another change. So it is a new day at Zilis, and I think Jenny and Steve, you guys flew home and we drove home.
A Jeep, but Zilis is still paying
Hey,
for
Lisa,
our new car.
okay,
So
we didn't hear what you said. You froze.
Oh, we glitched. Sorry.
We glitched on which part, Jenny?
When you first started talking.
Just as last comment you made.
I've been glitched for a minute.
Yeah. just a few comments about what went on at the meeting and how Zilis is changing, because there are major changes in the wind here. So just everybody needs to be aware of that. Yeah.
Well, how long have we been glitched? Maybe 10 minutes?
No, just 20, 30 seconds,
No.
but Lisa, I think
Oh.
you were
Okay.
asking us your question and I couldn't hear your question. Or
Did you hear my answer to Kayla about Kayla's question?
no,
Oh, should we go back?
Go ahead.
maybe it's
So,
just us. You know,
no, I think,
we
did
got
y'all
all
all
this
hear it?
sand and wind and sunshine here and it kind of messes up the signal every now and then.
So
Just when
Kayla had
Lisa
asked the
started
question.
talking, when Lisa started talking, I heard most of yours, Hal, when you were replying to Kayla. But
Okay,
then when Lisa started talking, it kind of was in and out.
okay.
So was it about the global bonus pool?
That's sort of where.
That's where it
I think
started.
that's-
It was
That's where
kind
it
of right
glitched.
after.
Okay, and that's really just, it's a high level change in the compensation plan, is that instead of just being paid on the United States, that once you get to a certain size organization, the company bonuses you on all volume for the company, Latin America, Europe, and the United States, which is a significant change. So,
Another, so we drove back from Texas in our new car. So we, while there, traded in our big Grand Cherokee L Jeep for a new car with the same guy that helped us get that. But it's not a Jeep. And so and yet Zilis is still paying in a different way for the Jeep. In other words, we're not required
to have a Jeep.
now. You don't have to pick a Jeep. Anyway, that's part of the comp plan we probably shouldn't say a whole lot about, but we were able to do that. We dropped our monthly payments by $250 plus, which is great. Got a car that Lisa can actually park between the lines. That Jeep was too, she couldn't, I didn't know it. She drove it for a year, didn't say a word, but she really hated that big old Jeep.
I could back it up with the backup camera, but if I had to do it with my vision, I could never see over the Jeep. So it was just too big and clunky. And I'm so thrilled to have a smaller vehicle. So yes.
I used to drive limousines, so it's no big deal to me, but Lisa, it was her car. She could drive it. She couldn't park it.
He's so tickled with that.
I am
So
tickled.
just saying. Well, anyway, so there's a lot of people on this call, and everyone's kind of a little different level of understanding and length of time. Some people have only been here a little bit, maybe like a week, and some people have been here almost as long as I have for 8 years. And so those of you who have went with us through the first Zilis growth phase, this is going to be bigger than that, potentially. And so the compensation plan is much more fair balanced. There's a lot of excitement about this. And what I'm going to tell you is that when people start earning income, it becomes a very much bigger deal. And I lived through this in 2017, 2018. Once the check started to grow, I remember when I got my first $16,000 check, that people were like jumping in. It became a source of, he was one of them.
I asked her to marry me, and she said yes.
Anyway, so I'm just saying the new comp plan is going to reward all volume. There's some really great enhancements, and yet it's really just each one reach one person a month. So this is not like you've got to go recruit a whole army of people. We just need to be consistent in that. And so because it's a new day, it's going to require new things from us.
Do you remember, any of y'all who've listened to Bo more than 3 or 4 times, there's a phrase that he says in his prospecting. He'll say, I don't know that I can say it exactly, but he basically says, if I could show you a way to accomplish these things, not overnight, but over time. Have you heard him say, not overnight, but over time? Okay, all of you have heard it. Well, that's when you're prospecting someone. But what we want to say to our team is the compensation plan is going to pay you well, not overnight, but over time. As you do these things a little bit at a time, it just is going to pay better when you do these things, like each one, reach one, not overnight, but over time. And it not only helps you, but it is going to help other people when they do these things, like each one, reach one, not overnight, but over time. And so, anyway, there's that.
So just in summary, this business is a consumption business. It is about finding that product that you cannot live without and just creating a story around that product and then letting us help you to find that team of people that we would never have been able to meet on our own. And that's really the beauty of the team. But Bo gave us some statistics that for those of you who really want to grow your check beyond what it is right now, I want you to write this down, because he gave us stats. Like, Bo knows exactly what it takes. And here's what he said. He said, we want to share the plan 15 times a month for 24 months straight. You can't miss a month, because you start all over again if you do. And within that, once you show or share the plan, then within 24 to 48 hours, we follow up, and we're going to sponsor one person each month. And that's the stats that he gave us to basically set ourselves up for the higher ranked positions that will pay $10,000 a week in the new compensation plan. And these are some of the numbers that seem very realistic for the type of volume that can be created in this new compensation plan. And so what we want to do from this standpoint is we want to make just some minor changes so that we can become what's called momentum friendly. We are creating the momentum. We've already seen it in Latin America. So anybody on this call who speaks Spanish or has connections to Spanish speaking people, Mexico, Peru, Colombia, Panama, really anywhere, Costa Rica, there, it's already happening there. We have to create it here. And so it's really, really important that we streamline our operations. And so with that, what we have kind of, the four of us, Steve, Jenny, and Hal and I, we want to continue with the same schedule for elevation, but we're going to start 30 minutes later. So 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern, and really try to compress that into a 30-minute call. And the reason for that is where we need to spend our time is not on team conversation, but on taking a very simple plan and sharing that with a heck of a lot more people, saying less to more people, putting them in the pipeline, putting them into our validation with three-way calls and messaging. And that's really where Hal and I are going. We want to meet your people. We love you guys. We know we love each other, but we want to help not just keep this a secret, but we want to share this with the world. And we want you guys to actually set your goals, set your dreams. And what Bo said, and I love this quote, you're not building Zilis to build Zilis. You're building Zilis to build your own dreams and goals. And what I'll tell you is the type of lifestyle freedom that we have experienced, just even in the difficult part of Zilis, has made me want to fight for every single one of us to create that kind of freedom for you and your family. And so, yes, 15 presentations or 15 sharing the plan a month, Kayla, and I'm looking to see, yeah, 4 to 5 people a week. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. And that's virtually, that can be in a home meeting, that can be one-on-one at a coffee shop.
That could be one 1 minute elevator conversation at a networking meeting, a free one. I went to one Friday. And what the great thing about that is that I was able to talk about the fact that Lisa and I operate several businesses, but those businesses help other people. And one of the things we've been able to do with those is we've been able to start a nonprofit to provide housing for men in recovery. 3 different people came up to me after the meeting, not to talk about Zilis or about the employment retention credit grant. They wanted to talk about what? The nonprofit housing for men. But these are people I didn't know. I didn't know them at all. But now I have their phone numbers, they have mine. And so that builds a relationship. And I didn't use the word hemp, ECS, CBD, CBG, Zilis at all. But that to me is sharing what? Sharing the plan, because it was intentional. I was looking for new relationships. I was wanting people to know that there's someone in the world helping people. How do you do that? Well, we do it in several ways. What is your need? That is a version of sharing the plan. Okay. Another version of sharing the plan is taking an 8-minute presentation, sitting down with someone at a coffee shop and saying, here's strategic partners. You've got a company that provides product and pay. You have mentors, people who show you how to build income and business. And then you have you. Do you have the other two? Do you have a corporate company that will help you impact other people's lives? Do you have mentors that can help you and others get financial freedom? You, because I have that. Would you like to know more about that? That's just another way of showing the plan. So we talk about 15 times a month. It doesn't mean 15 meetings a month where you've got 2 hours to spend there and a dinner beforehand and 30 minutes after. That can be one of those, or maybe 3 of those. But it's like Jenny Todd. Jenny, give me an example of what you do to share the plan.
Well, let me think here. Okay. Well, okay. For example, I at a business networking group that Steve and I belong to, you know, I'm the CBD lady, and you know, someone came up to me and they have a what's the app? Not an apparat. What's some kind of a program on her iPad where people just tell her things, and she, I guess, hooks you up to wires. I don't know. But one of the things that was on her list of what these customers of hers need was endocannabinoid. And she told me to talk about CBD. And so we met for coffee and and I gave her product. I'm getting back with her. And when I met her for coffee, it didn't take 20 minutes.
Would that feel like one of your 15 for the month?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Because I left her
Okay.
that tear sheet. Yes. I
Okay.
left her the tear sheet. Yeah.
So I feel like my 1 minute eating breakfast with people at Jimmy's Egg in Fayetteville on Friday morning, first time I'd been there in a long time, I feel like I would count that for one of my 15 this month. So
Yeah.
And so the numbers are not huge, guys. I mean, it's the consistency in doing that month in and month out, and also keeping track of those people and following up within 24 to 48 hours. That is another thing that's really important for Bo. And so I'm excited because I feel like we finally, like, all the planets are lining up. We have spent 9 years developing what Bo calls as the most life-changing products that he has ever seen. He says there's a lot of companies that have good products, but very, very few companies have life-changing products. So we have the products, we now have the leadership team, and what we've been lacking is the compensation plan. And that is going to be very, very soon. It's going to be announced. You're going to hear a lot more details about that. We're going to do a lot of trainings on that. You're not alone, and this is not a business that's intended to be alone, for you to be like a lone wolf out there trying to talk to people on your own. Lock arms with us. We really want to help as many of our team. You guys have been, many of you guys have stuck with us through some really, really challenging times. We know that the time now is for us to really start to run with this, especially once the comp plan has been published and it's public. It is time to run. So I'm going to pause there. Jenny and Steve, is there anything else you guys want to add?
I tell you, for that weekend, all these fancy things and bullet points and whatnot, Lisa, what excited me the most was there's more money coming. There's lots of money coming. That's the bottom line. And that's the bottom line. I'm most excited about that. You just get out there and talk to people, shake their hand, share, you're going to make money.
So
It's great.
Let me give you a good example of that today with Jenny. So, you know, we went, beautiful sunny day here. And so we went to the beach and we just wanted to sit in the pavilion and sit there and just, you know, just look at the ocean or whatever. And there's we're there, and then there's a couple right beside us, actually a couple tables down. And Jenny strikes up a conversation with
Because I heard the word turmeric.
yeah.
They were talking about
We're
turmeric.
talking about turmeric, and Jenny goes,
So always have your cards with you. I had one in my pocket.
yeah, she started the conversation. It went from turmeric, you know, to just getting to know them. And the next thing you know, she's giving them a business card. And then the next thing you know,
But this was 5 minutes.
yeah, this is 5 minutes long. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
they got her business card. They know who she is. They engaged with her for a minute or two. That was it. I mean,
It's fun, y'all.
Is
So
she-
much fun.
Yeah, I mean, that was and this, it could evolve into something, it might not, but you know, we're there anyway. We were on the beach, right? We were sitting there, they were sitting beside us. It's Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, you just got to say something. That's what Jenny does. So yeah, she's.
Yeah.
You guys are a great team, and so I want you guys to hopefully feel hopeful. I hope you feel some of the excitement that we had. It was really a privilege to represent you guys. There's a lot more that we're on 2 calls a month with this advisory group, so it's fun to get to see people live. It's a lot of time, and we just know that once the money works, it's amazing how things work out from there. It's amazing how a lot of problems go away. And that's what we really want. So one of the reasons that we're streamlining Elevation is because you guys get great training from Bo every Wednesday. Bo is on every Monday Freedom Call. Freedom Calls are Monday at 8. We now have opportunity calls every Tuesday at 8. So that's kind of, that counts. If you get somebody on an opportunity call, Steve and Jenny, you guys did a fantastic job last week. Those are very high quality calls. There's a lot of tools out there, so that we just need to talk to more people.
And let's close with, I want to give some kudos to some people who I'm aware of, and Lisa may have more, but I'm aware of a few people who put people on, who literally set up and put people on 3-way calls with Lisa in the last month. Okay, I know Marcia has done that. I know that Kayla, I believe, has done
Yeah.
that. I think Carlita has done that.
Mhm.
I think Susan has done that.
Susan better, or look at, she said no.
Well, that was a little while
She has
back.
some past laurels to rest on.
Yeah.
But next week those go away.
Anyway, those are 3 that come to mind, and I'm sure I'm probably missing some people, but I just recall that Lisa she's like, she gets off that call.
Jenny Todd.
Jenny Todd,
Yeah.
right? Those are really good calls. Those are really good calls. They're doing the way they're doing these calls. They're really good at that. Like, I was on a totally different kind of call with Steve and Jenny, and one of the things I'll say about Jenny, I told Lisa, I said, man, when she's done with the call, she gets us off the call. She does not linger. She gets us off that call. Very professional. There's a time slot, and Jenny just, because me and this lady probably could have talked a long time, and Steve and Jenny were done with it, so they were out. And she goes, I'm gonna cut this off. Let's go. Anyway.
Well,
I just
that's
want
a good point, though.
That is a good point. These people don't leave them wanting more. I know I want to talk to that lady some more, and I think maybe she wants to talk to me more, but there's no reason to sit there for an hour talking about that stuff. Let's get back together. If they're interested and we're interested, we'll talk about it. Had nothing to do with Zilis, but anyway.
Less is more, for sure.
And
Thank you, guys.
Lisa,
Any
you and
yes,
Hal,
Steve?
let me just say something. You guys are the best leaders there. Okay. So just everybody know that. No, you guys are. You guys are wonderful. So
That's right, because we're in the room with all these 22 people that Lisa's talking about, and everybody on this call, these are the 2 best leaders in all of Zilis. We are all blessed to have them as our upline. They're the best, y'all.
Yeah.
All that means, guys, is that we have made more mistakes than anybody else because we've been here the longest. And thank you. I see the hearts.
You become that because you do it. That's how you become it. Really, it is how you become a leader. Is you do the work of a leader, and you become that. And we want all of you to have people saying that kind of stuff about you, and you really can. And so anyway,
but hey, guys, thank you so much for those positive words, and just to understand that, I mean, I want you guys to set your goals. Like, we dreamed a long time ago, and then things got hard, and we were just trying to survive.
Yeah, it's really a good time to do that. They didn't promote that, but we just want to say to you, this is a good time for you to readjust those things.
Some of you, it might be, hey, I just need an extra $500 a month. Hey, I need to get rid of this second job that I'm working so that I can just sleep 8 hours, as Steve Todd recommends. Each of you have a different goal. I didn't have a goal of making $20,000 a month when I first started with Zilis, because I didn't believe it was possible.
I will say this, though. I really believe that while you're setting personal goals for yourself, and for us as a group, like a community of people, that we all want to be successful in this little group and within Zilis, please consider strongly that you would set a goal for impacting other people's lives outside of Zilis and the things that would financially benefit you. Set a goal to impact people's lives where you truly give of yourself with nothing in return. I believe that steps you moves you from our story or my story and our story, which is this collective group and the Zilis collective group, into the story of others and impacting others, which then ultimately truly leads to the big story, which, we all have our understandings of what that might be. But when we get just stuck in our own, we have to begin with ours. What's my story? What's my dream? What's our dream? Well, what's other people's dreams that they have and needs, and how we can meet those? So anyway.
So that's all I got, guys. You're going to see a lot more happening. So you heard it here first. There's a lot to be excited about. Does anybody have a question or a comment before we break?
Yeah, Lisa, when are you going to start the 7:30 meetings?
March.
for
So it
elevation?
will be March. I think the 2nd is the first Sunday in March.
So
So
that'll be our next.
Yeah, it'll be the next elevation call.
And you
Okay.
guys, I'm making an event on Facebook on our Team Unlimited page. Do you guys receive those? Okay, because that's easier for me than trying to remember to post the flyer and that kind of thing. So we're just going to stay with that, but it will be 7:30 to 8. So it's streamlined for everybody. If you guys, and so here's what we're prioritizing right now. Get us on the phone with people. That's what I'm prioritizing. So if you got a 3-way call option, I'm always going to really want to hear and meet your people. So is the renewal fee going away? That is something that we're still talking about. We're definitely going to change it. But let's see. Here's what, Melissa, thank you for having these calls and always inviting. You are the best. Thank you so much, Melissa. And thank you, Linda. I agree. They're great leaders. Thank you for the information. You guys, information, until it changes your life, it's just information. So we want to help this change your life, make it improve your life, and improve your family's life. So let us help you with that.
Hey, I want to shout out to Parker. I see your ear, buddy. Hey, man, good to see you. Look at that handsome face. Hey, man, good to see you.
Does that answer your question,
Yeah.
Jean? Hey,
Yes,
Lorena.
it does. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Anybody else questions, comments? All right. I think that's a wrap. Parker, it's all yours. Good night, everybody. Thanks for, let's see. Thanks for being on the call tonight.
Good night, all.
Lorena, show us the new kitty.
Yeah. Oh, Kaya,
You have a
he
kitty?
had yeah. Thanksgiving, we got a new kitten. Yeah. She's rotten.
Oh,
She-
Marcia, it's 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. Oh, that is
There
a
she
cute
is.
cat.
There she is.
Yeah. Hey, I just saw Kayla's, she has 2 kittens or 2 cats. They are
Hi, baby
beautiful.
cat. I know
So,
we're gonna have pet
We'll
night.
have to have pet night. We'll make one of these calls a
Yay.
pet night.
good deal.
Okay. All right.
That's a great
Yeah.
idea. And so first and third Sunday at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern.
Okay,
Okay. Thanks,
sounds
guys.
great. Thank
Much
you.
love to everybody.
Bye-bye all.
Bye-bye.